Unit ready.
Alright, so I finally had time to play the new faction, and I've got some first impressions,
You can trust me.
and the new faction is pretty sweet.
Building.
And one of the reasons why is because instead of dogs, they use night frames, which are really good anti-infantry. They also have anti-air, and they can't be killed by dogs. Now, on the downside, they're a lot more expensive, so I'm a little more hesitant to just throw them around like dogs to try and scout.
Complete.
But either way, they're really good.
Building. Training.
The miners are a lot smaller. They can't carry even as much as an allied miner, so you've got to have more of them. So I don't think it's possible to go through a game without building one from the War Factory, which is, it's okay because they don't cost as much either. They're half as much as the original miners. They're only 800, so you can build them pretty quickly and not take up too much time. And then, like I said, the other thing is if someone wants to rush you, the units, the infantry units for the new faction are really useful. So I'm actually nervous about playing like a Desolator for the first time because I don't know what to do without the units, the infantry units for the new faction.
Unit ready. Chivalry is not dead. Cancel. Building. Chivalry is not dead.
This guy rushed me with jets in the previous game, so I wanted to start with these tanks and kind of spread them out over the miners.
Building.
The other amazing thing about this faction is the spin blades, which you get after you build the Cloud Piercer. And what that allows you to do is it speeds up your miners, and I think it gives them defense too. But so here's what I'm talking about, how awesome the infantry is. I mean, they just annihilated those tanks like it was nothing. They're really good anti-infantry, and they're also anti-air. And then the Lancer dudes, I think that's what they're called, I don't remember. But they're good against buildings and something else as well. And they also can't be killed by dogs, so it's like amazing as far as a counter against any faction with dogs.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
So, Cyclops, I think they're the equivalent of like Grizzly tanks.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
Or like Rhino tanks. They're like the first tier tanks, and you can just spam them. And so, I've kind of eased into like the Cyber Kernel units and beyond that. And I've just stuck to just spamming those guys. So it's a mix of those guys and the infantry is what's really driving my initial gameplay so far. And there's that spin blade, which is going to speed up my miners, so now I'm going to have a lot more cash flow. And I realized that there, so I start building a lot more units and decide to upgrade the next tech level. Which I think actually might be a part of my strategy for a long time, because I feel like you really want to be able to spam your first tier until you've got the cash flow for the next tier of buildings. So I decided to divvy up my units. I'm going to have the Nightmares in the front with my tanks and stuff, and then I'm going to put my Lancers in the back and try and branch off and go after buildings with those.
He who lives by the gun, forge ahead. I see it.
But these things are awesome because they act as fodder, obviously, but they also do a shitload of damage, so it's a nice change of pace. It definitely adds a lot more tactical decision making to the game now. So I think he knows. I think he's trying to use his little prism guys to take out my infantry first. but I don't think they're that great against infantry, so he was like betting on that before he was going to try and come in, but it's just not working, so
Unit lost. Unit lost.
yeah, I pretty much just wrecked him.
Unit lost.
But that's my first experience with the new faction.
Unit ready.
So I think the key for the new faction is the spin blades, so you can really make sure that you're getting a lot of cash flow,
Lost. Unit ready.
and that infantry is key. But like I said, I'm nervous to play anybody with a Desolator because then it's just like, what do you do?
Unit ready.
Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to be playing this faction a lot more,
Enemy in sight.
and obviously experimenting with the higher tier units. I've already experimented with them, but like I said, I feel like this is the equivalent of like just spamming Grizzlies.
Structure sold.
So we'll see.
Select target. Always on standby.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Fuck, the spin blade go?
Player defeated. You are victorious.